encounters between Scottish sides Rangers and Celtic. This cup replay, well, it was won by Celtic, but the game more notable for its bad behaviour. Rangers finished the match with just 8 players. And at the final whistle, Celtic coach Neil Lennon squaring up to Rangers number 2, Ali McCoist. The Scottish Football Association have said they've launched an investigation into what they've described as inflammatory and irresponsible behaviour. We're just a few weeks away now from finding out if anyone will be taking on Sepp Blatter for the position of FIFA president. European football boss Michel Platini and the Asian Football Confederation president Mohammed bin Hammam are 2 potential candidates. At the moment, neither man committed to that June 1st ballot, but football legend Pelé here sees Platini as one man who could end Blatter's bid to win a 4th consecutive election.
I think, of course, they think for the next president, they think Platini, because Platini is already president of UEFA, has good opportunity. The people, they think in Platini. Maybe Platini will run for that, but I am out, no doubt.
Now, there are less than 6 months to go until the Rugby World Cup is held in New Zealand, but questions obviously being raised over Christchurch's ability to host games after last week's devastating earthquake. Andrew Thomas finds out whether the city and its players are still prepared for that competition.
Training, but with a difference. For the Crusaders, New Zealand's most successful ever Super Rugby team, these are unusual times. This a borrowed pitch, 30 kilometres from their normal home. That is in Christchurch. The team was showering after training here as the ground shook. They scattered, rushing home to check on family and friends. A member of the team's board died when this office block collapsed. Players and coaches were unharmed, but not their facilities. Potentially unsafe, the Crusaders' home stadium. It has yet to be checked for structural damage. Out of respect, last Saturday's away game was abandoned, but this Friday's home fixture can't be missed. Their opponents, Australia's Waratahs, the team currently topping the league. That match will go ahead, but in Nelson, 400 kilometres from Christchurch. It'll be an emotionally charged night.
You know, emotion is both a good thing and bad thing. You know, we've got to be really clear that we firmly get our minds back on rugby and try to, you know, put that emotion to the side and really refocus on making sure that rugby is our priority.
Christchurch's earthquake has big implications too for this September's Rugby World Cup. Key matches for that are due to be played at the Crusaders Stadium too, which, even as we filmed it, was hit by another aftershock. The stadium is quite modern. Engineers expect to find it structurally sound. But there are wider questions. Can a city devastated by an earthquake possibly host a major sports event just 6 months later?
Well, I mean, we've been looking forward to it and we've been gearing up for it, and there's been a lot of investment in the stadium and in the city. We would still very much like to be a very big part of the Rugby World Cup.
But hotels have been destroyed, likewise restaurants and bars. The city centre will be off limits for months. There is, though, hope. Cruise liners, for example, could be brought into nearby Littleton Harbour to accommodate fans. Commercially and psychologically, being in a fit enough state to host the World Cup by September would be a huge boost for Christchurch. But for an event of that size, 6 months isn't long, and the clock's already ticking. Andrew Thomas, Al Jazeera, Christchurch.
Tell you, Canada 27 for 2 now, still in with a chance of another upset of that Cricket World Cup, beating Pakistan. That is all we sport for now.
Thank you very much indeed, Andy. We'll see you later on. And do stay with us here on Al Jazeera. We'll have an interview with Luis Moreno Ocampo as the ICC begins its investigation of human rights abuse allegations in Libya. That's coming up straight after the break. For the time being, thanks for watching the News Hour. Bye for now.
Leaders are remembered, be they loved or feared. Alone they are inscribed on the pages of history. But what of the men and women whose hands build their monuments and whose blood stains their battlefields? The people who, against all odds, wield the power to reshape history. People in Power, at this time on Al Jazeera.
The relocation of the Ahmadiyya has magnified the issue of religious intolerance in Indonesia. Is this inevitable in a multicultural society? And is the government turning a blind eye?
101 East at this time on Al Jazeera.
Welcome to Al Jazeera, live from Doha. I'm Lauren Taylor. Our top stories. Muammar Gaddafi and his supporters in Libya are warned they're now war crimes suspects. The International Criminal Court begins investigating human rights abuse allegations and says there will be no impunity. There's more political upheaval in Egypt. The Prime Minister resigns. His replacement has already been appointed. In other news, security forces in Côte d'Ivoire have shot dead at least 5 women marching in support of the president's rival. Well, let's begin at the International Criminal Court in The Hague, which has made Muammar Gaddafi a wanted man. The court's prosecutor says Gaddafi's supporters have already been identified as possible war crime suspects.
We identify some individuals with de facto or formal authority who have authority on the security forces who allegedly committed the crimes. They are Muammar al-Gaddafi, his inner circle, including some of his sons, who had de facto authority. But also, there are people with some formal authority that should pay attention to the crimes committed by their people, because if they are not preventing, stopping, and punishing these crimes, they could be responsible in accordance with the law. They are the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the head of the regime security and military intelligence, the head of Gaddafi personal security, and the head of the Libyan External Security Organization. So we'd like to use this opportunity to put them on notice. If forces under their command and control commit crimes, they could be criminally responsible.
Well, joining us now in the studio is Ibrahim Shakir, Deputy Director of the Brookings Centre here in Doha. Thanks for coming in again. What did you make of the warning from Luis Moreno Ocampo?
I think it's very timely, it's very important, it's very good, and it serves really a good time is to show that there is not only, we're not talking about no-fly zone or military mobilization around the world, but about targeted pressure on the regime individuals. And that's what the importance that I see of this announcement today.
And interesting that he sort of named Muammar Gaddafi and his inner circle, including some of his sons, but he then also sort of widened the warning out to people who might think about committing crimes.
That makes it even more significant, even more important, because everyone around Gaddafi should feel responsible, and at one point that things might